Good morning, everybody, Ram fans. For Monday Morning Cup of Coffee with Steve Ivy and Brady Hull. I'm here with my co-host Brady. How was your weekend, Brady?
I finally kicked this cold. I'm going on record. I think I have the Guinness Book of World Records record for the longest cold in the history of the world, but we're finally getting over it, Steve. So it's a big day. It's a big Monday.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. Brady obviously does a lot of work on his show with his picks. I believe he went 3-2 for his weekend picks, and of course hit his Thursday night. You're starting to get on a roll, young man.
We're starting to get hot, at this point. Yeah, I would have liked a better weekend in the picks, Steve, but we got over 500. We're 3 games over 500 total, so it's we got a few weeks left here to try to get. The goal was to finish over 10 games over 500, so we're close. We're close.
Well, you're above water for now, and it's trending in the certainly trending in the right direction. You got anything fun planned for? Have you had any fun so far this morning? Just getting up and going.
Yeah, nothing, nothing crazy. It was nice and cool on the drive in. I like the weather change. That's been fun. It sounds like we're gonna get some nasty stuff later this week, but no, nothing too crazy. It was a great weekend overall. Colorado State going bowling, got the dub, and this football team's figuring out ways to win, Steve. So
yeah, that obviously was the big story over the weekend. CSU bowl eligibility for the first time since 2017. What was your? I mean, it kind of felt it was coming. You knew they had several shots at it, but what was your immediate reaction when the game was over? What was the first thought in your head?
My brain did try to go to that negative, like, oh man, it feels like they should be up by a lot more. I don't like the fact that Nevada kind of made this interesting, but I'm kind of putting that away. This is just as Coach Norvell says, that Ram grit. It's just a gritty team. Finds a way to win. They didn't have Jack Howell in that game, so that was a bummer on the defensive side, but they just figure it out. And I think it's fascinating how the narrative changed. The beginning of the season, we're talking all hot seat stuff about Jay. And now I think we should be talking about the fact that he kind of went against who he is as a coach. He's changed completely for the good of this football team. Instead of the air raid stuff, he has become more of a ground and pound West Coast offense kind of guy. And I think that should be applauded. He's changed kind of midstream here in year 3 for Colorado State.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We went from that air raid, that Mike Leach Texas Tech. Now we're feeling more like Kirk Ferentz's Iowa
Yeah.
with a strong defense and grind it out, and maybe not the flashiest of offenses, but certainly being effective. My week, today, I mean, I had a great weekend, but I managed to stop by a couple of practices, but I'm already off to a fun start. I assume you handled the switch to the time change switch. I didn't handle it so well this morning. I jumped out of bed and looked at the clock. It said 6:15 a.m. and I had a ton of stuff to do this morning. And I didn't realize my wife hadn't reset the clock in the bedroom. And so I was up at 5:15 instead of 6:15. So panic went away.
So you feel like you have bonus time at that point?
Oh, yeah. At that point, of course, you got to get the dog fed and the dog walked and all that. And so, but that was it. But anyway, that was my morning. Today, obviously, it's a fun day. Let's bring our guest on. He's been sitting in the back room. Our guest, Bowen Bourne. Bowen, 5'11" graduate student who transferred to CSU from Northern Iowa after a brilliant 4-year career with the Panthers. I have it as 89 starts, 118 games, nearly 1,500 points. Bowen was Missouri Valley Conference Newcomer of the Year, Missouri Valley Conference Sixth Man of the Year. In high school, I was Mr. Basketball, Gatorade Player of the Year. Welcome, Bowen. We're glad to have you.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
You got anything fun planned today?
Yeah, I do. I got a little game tonight, so that's my fun plans for the day.
Yeah, that sounds good. I have a comment already from a regular Taylor who commented CSU soccer, volleyball, football all won. basketball starts tonight. Perfection for Ram Nation. Bowen, you came to CSU, like I said, after a great career at Northern Iowa. Obviously, you entered the portal. What was that experience like? I like to talk to everybody about this. I think it's always a great topic. What was your experience in the portal, and ultimately, why did you choose to come to CSU?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, had a really good 4-year career at Northern Iowa, and really liked it there. And so I think everybody has varying reasons for deciding to leave a school, and so for me it was just wanting to continue to get better. I knew that I had 4 years there where I felt like I did a lot, and was successful in some years, and just felt like I kind of wanted just another step up, another just level of competition. And so obviously that wasn't the only factor, but I think that was probably one of the main ones, is just wanting to just continue to better myself, push myself to become the best player that I can possibly be. So ended up deciding to leave Northern Iowa, which was a very difficult decision for me. It was a place that I loved, and still have relationships with people there, and just was an incredible experience for me, but decided to leave. And so once I entered the portal and decided to go somewhere else, for me, I just I had a good experience with the portal. You never know what it's kind of going to look like. You never know where you're going to end up. You never know who's going to be interested in you. And so when I decided to leave Northern Iowa, CSU was one of the first schools to reach out, and they had a previous connection with me from their time at Drake. So Coach Medved and Coach Frokmanesh were coaching at Drake while I was in high school, which is about 15 minutes from where I went to high school at. So they had recruited me a little bit at Drake, and then a little bit when they made the move to CSU, whatever it was, 7, 8 years ago now. And so they were kind of the first school that I kind of scheduled a visit with, and I had some others lined up. And as soon as I visited here next morning, called everybody else and was like, canceled my other visits, and called Coach Medved and Coach Frokmanesh and told him I was going to be a Ram. So it was a good experience for me, but it was also fast. It's like you decide you're going to leave, and then you have about 2-3 weeks where now you have to decide your future, basically, and you don't have all the time in the world like you did in high school, where you can kind of take your time and maybe see some other places and grow relationships. Like it's very quick, it's very fast. So you have to trust your instincts a little bit. And I did with CSU, and it's turned out even better than I thought.
Bowen, how difficult is that, man, to go from, you're used to a system, you're used to so many different teammates and guys, you've got it your way. Talk about the difficulties in that transition to get on a team, and you've already become, just a couple of practices in that I've seen, a vocal leader out there. And I know the coaches have talked about that. Is that something where you found to say, hey, I've got to push on that because I want to insert myself into this culture, into this roster?
Right. Yeah. And that's something, after I decided to come here, and as you're on the visit as well, those are things that the coaches are telling you about, is just the previous culture. And, the players that were here before you. And I keep up with college basketball. So even last year, I was always kind of looking at, Isaiah. I was looking at Neek. I was looking at some of those guys. I would check in with certain games just to see how different teams were doing. So it's kind of something that I just do, just because I like to see how teams do. So when I'm on my visit, they're kind of explaining, oh, here's the pieces that we're losing. This is what we're kind of looking for. We're looking for a guy to come in and really bring some veteran leadership, because we think we have a good group of young guys, and we want you to come in and really just help us out in that area. And so for me, coming to CSU, the standard for me and myself doesn't change. It's just another level that I can now improve myself. And so it was now, here I am in this new situation that it was really difficult for me to do. It's not necessarily in my comfort zone to get outside myself and kind of make a change in my life. And so that was something that was really hard for me to do. So then for me, it's just about capitalizing on the experience. Now I have this incredible opportunity for me. And now I just want to help, us be the best team that we can be. So I've played a lot of college basketball in the past 4 years. And so now it's, okay, how can I continue to help us grow? How can I show the guys, how hard it is to win, how small the margin of error is, things like that. So coming in, yeah, it's just also just being myself. I'm just a natural leader on the basketball court. It's something that, I was instilled in me as a young age. I've always been small, not super athletic, always been pretty fast, pretty quick, but, not super vertical. So, for me at a young age, I really learned like, hey, if this is something that I want to do, I have to control the things that I can control. And so, yeah, that's just something that just is natural for me, communication, effort, doing the little things because I know how important they are in the grand scheme of things.
Hey, Bowen. I'm encouraging people to send questions for you in live chat. I got one from John talking about so many good high school players that come from Iowa. What is it about the state that produces so many great players that play at the next level?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of really good players. When I was in high school, so I graduated in 2020. So, in kind of then my AAU years, so from like 2016 to 2018, you obviously have AJ Green, who's playing for the Bucks right now. You have Joe Wieskamp. DJ Carton is with the Toronto Raptors. There's been a lot of really good players, and now there's a bunch of them that are playing at Iowa. Xavier Foster, Cole Henry, those guys were people that were in my conference. Throughout high school. So Iowa I feel like does a really good job of character building. I just think overall. The entire state, it just develops a lot of really good kids. And so for me, I'm taking a lot of sport management classes. And so it's kind of making me look at the game from an outside perspective and a coach's perspective. And I think, things like your character, who you are as a person, the things that you stand for can play a really big factor into who you are on the basketball court. Your habit building, things that are going to make you every single day wake up and go work out even though you don't want to. I think the state of Iowa just builds a good culture around basketball. You play the game the right way. You share the ball. You do things that are just natural as you grow up. And so I think that's why you see so many guys now. They're very skilled, they're very talented, but now they have this foundation of I know how to play good basketball. I know how to share the ball. I know how to get my teammates involved, and I know how to carry myself. So I would say, for me, that's kind of what helped me, and I would imagine it's helped a lot of the other guys that have been highly successful at the Division I level, and even now into the pros in the NBA.
Bowen, you're listing off all these NBA guys. I've talked to you before about this. I love this story. You've got that deep connection to the NBA. Tell our viewers and everything a little bit about your pops, because I love that basketball is just in your blood. You're around.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah. So my dad, he is a scout for the Indiana Pacers, and he's worked in the NBA for a long time now. So I actually grew up, kind of moved around a little bit when I was younger. We lived in Alabama when my dad worked with the Huntsville Flight, who at the time it was the D League. Worked with the Huntsville Flight, and then lived out in Tualatin, Oregon for a while when my dad was working with the Portland Trailblazers. He's also worked with the Charlotte Hornets, and now he's been with the Indiana Pacers for a while. So, I have some pretty cool experiences, just from him, being able to learn, from him firsthand, basically what it's like, what he's looking for, because he looks at college players. So, a lot of the times, like, he's traveling around and going to games around the Midwest, Kansas, Iowa State, Iowa, all the big schools there where, he's looking for players. He's looking for guys that are going to translate to the next level. And so, for me in my development, it's played a major role in the player that I am today, and also the person that I am. And he's just been a great resource and, somebody to bounce ideas off of. He's a guy that's always willing to work out with me, rebound for me, do whatever with me and my little brother. So, he's been somebody that has just been super special. To have as a parent. He just has a great mindset on things, and it's a super cool perspective that, when I was younger, we live in Iowa now, so he works remote, even though he's still working with the Pacers. So when I was younger, we were around the practice facility a lot, around a lot of the guys. During that time, it was the Brandon Roy era. It was LaMarcus Aldridge, Travis Outlaw, Patty Mills, a lot of those guys. So, when I moved back to Iowa, I was probably about 10 or 11, I want to say. So when I was in Oregon, was still pretty young, so didn't necessarily probably take full advantage of the experiences that I got. As I got older, I'm like, wow, that was pretty cool that I got to, just be around NBA guys every day, and see them work out. And, obviously being that young, you don't necessarily know what it takes yet. And, didn't even know that I was going to be where I was at with basketball today. But just super cool experiences that kind of shaped and informed me to who I am today.
But just real quick, I think these people that are scouts know as much about basketball as anybody out there. They have to be able to visualize how a player fits into a particular system and how it does translate to the next level. I actually learned a lot of the game sitting next to a scout at a game down at Air Force when CSU, many years ago, when Jason Smith was playing for CSU, ended up being a first-round draft pick. And I got a 2-hour lesson in what they're looking for every time CSU had the ball. And he was very, very high on Jason, a couple other players as well. But anyway, moving on, you've always been a great scorer. I go to practice, I watch you shoot. I'm always surprised when you miss. You've had over 30 points in a game 4 times in your career. Just to put that in perspective, Roddy only did it 3 times. Isaiah Stevens only did it twice. The very first time you did it, you did it against Northern Illinois. There's a guy named Keyshawn Williams who played in that game who had 28. Do you remember that game well? Do you talk it over with Keyshawn, who happens to be another player that came to CSU?
Yeah, I do. It's just kind of another, funny connection, as I've came here and went to CSU, just the basketball connections, and the small world, experiences are very prevalent. So yeah, Keyshawn, he's been a guy that I've played against in AAU multiple times throughout, kind of the high school career with Iowa Barnstormers. And so he's been a guy that I've always kind of been, familiar with, and he's always just, been an incredible player. And so, we had a home and home with them. And unfortunately last year he was obviously hurt, so I didn't get to play him. But so our junior year, it was, I remember it. Like it was yesterday. It was, at Northern Iowa. And he had a great game. I think, I got to the free throw line a lot that game. So he kind of makes fun of me. They kind of say, "Oh, I was getting more buckets though." So
you were getting the hometown whistle. Is that the deal?
So it was. It's a funny experience, to look back on. And now, we're sitting here on the same team. As brothers, and it's just awesome. When things come together like that, and he got recruited from CSU out of high school, and really liked it here. So. I know he's really, really glad that he ended up here, for his last couple of years here. And he's going to be a very important piece of this team. He can score the ball really well, and brings a lot of really good things to the table. So I'm excited to see what this year, looks like for him, because, he's obviously spent a lot of time rehabbing and being injured is no joke. So he's worked really hard to be back where he's at today. And I'm just really excited to see what it's going to look like for him.
Bowen, it's game day, and I know you know that. You don't need us to tell you that. What does the rest of your day look like? I know this isn't really a part of the ritual, unless we do this every single game, we could. But what does the rest of the day look like for you as you get ready and prepare for tonight's game?
Yeah, so even today looks a little bit different. So like last week, for exhibition, my family wasn't in town, so my family's in town for the first couple games here that we have at home. So probably after this, yeah, we're just gonna go grab some breakfast. I'll kind of hang out with them. So our first like team event is shoot around, which we have at 2:30 today. So we have a little shoot around. It'll be kind of like a walkthrough. We kind of just review the things that we talked about over the last 2 days for our prep. And so, yeah, I'll usually go in an hour before. I like to get my shots up before shoot around, do a little workout session, just get a feel for the ball and kind of prepare myself for the game. And then, yeah, shoot around will be at 2:30. After shoot around, we'll go eat. They always have, a little meal for us at the arena for after shoot around. It's our pregame meal. And then we're back at the arena by 6 o'clock. So we'll kind of have a little bit of time. I come back here, shower, just kind of get myself right. Typically, I like to watch the TV show Friends as my just relaxer. I think, I started doing it last year. And yeah, just really liked it. I think sometimes you just get so amped up and you need something to kind of like calm you down a little bit. You get so excited and you've worked so hard and waited so long for it to finally arrive, and it's here. So I started watching TV show Friends. It's kind of my
who's your favorite character in Friends? Because we could talk about Friends all day.
Oh yeah, it's hard. I like Joey and I like Ross. Like Ross would probably be my favorite character. I think he gets funnier as the seasons progress. So I would probably say Ross. I think he just has a good storyline, and he's always kind of a main component of it. But then Joey and Chandler are also pretty good. So it's like it's hard to pick, but I'd probably go with Ross. He's probably my favorite. So
have you gone through the whole thing? Have you finished it?
Oh yeah, I've watched it multiple times all the way through. So this is probably, I don't even know, like in high school, my family would watch it. We would just have it on the TV pretty much at all times. And then it's on HBO Max right now. So usually anytime it's on some streaming service, I'll try to find a way. There's so many episodes and so many seasons, it takes you a while to kind of get through it. But yeah, so I started doing that. So I'll probably watch a little bit of Friends, kind of before the game, and just kind of get myself to relax and just trust what I've done. And the work is done now. So it's time to go show what you've been doing. And then back at the arena by 6, and I like to do then a little bit more shooting kind of just before the game, and get myself feeling right. And I know there's a girls game tonight before, so probably watch a little bit of that. So that's also a little bit of a different thing. So watch a little bit of the girls game, and then be ready to go by 7:30 and start off with a win. So I'm super excited.
Steve, when you're at the game and you see Bowen warming up and he's got the headphones on, just know that it's going to be the Friends theme song.
There we go. Hey, Bowen, I know we got to let you go soon, but I got a question from CSU Ramtey. It's our friend Tyler. What are your personal goals for yourself and for the team as a whole this season?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'll start off with the team. I think, for me coming here, I really just want to be able to win. I've played a lot of college basketball, but I have not yet played in the NCAA tournament. So that's one thing that I really want to do. It's a big reason of why I came here. In the Valley, it was super hard to get to the NCAA tournament, and just didn't have the strength in the league, like the Mountain West does. And so, for me, I've kind of gotten off to bad starts in my previous years, and still been able to turn it around. But, for me, it was, just really wanting to come here and impact winning. And, playing in the NCAA tournament is something that's huge for me, because I don't got another chance after this. So it's do or die for me. And so that's something that has, been a big motivator, wanting to experience that with the guys. And not only just, playing in it, but, the whole experience, for everybody as a team, it's something that bonds you for life. So I'd say that's probably my biggest, team goal for us. And then, as an individual, it's going to look different for me this year. And I think that's something that really excites me. I get to have a role where I'm coming off the bench this season, and I've done it before, and it's like as soon as you get that role defined, you just want to do the best you can in it. And so, as soon as I kind of found out, the whole preseason, you're kind of fighting for position, and you're kind of seeing like, oh, where can I be at? Where are my minutes going to be at? That's something that every athlete thinks about. You do this thing to play, and so that was kind of how it was during the preseason. And then it's like once those roles get defined, it's almost like a huge relief. You're just like, okay, this is my spot, and now I can just rock out and do what I do, to the best of my ability. So get to come off the bench and really make an impact and play a lot. And so, I'm super excited. I think as an individual, it's just going to be, using my experience to help the team and just give all that I have in the minutes that I'm given. So I'm super, super excited for both of those. I think, those are both two attainable goals, for myself and for the squad. So looking forward to, just how it's going to all evolve and how much better we're going to get throughout the course of the year.
Brady, any last questions for Bowen before we send him on his way to his first game at CSU?
Bowen, I like to live tweet a lot during some of these games, and with your last name, I'm already thinking of a couple of connections. Born Supremacy. What of those movies should we be going with when you start to tear it up out there tonight?
I it's a bad thing to say, but I've never watched them. I'm sure I've seen pieces of them. But I hear a lot of just good stuff like that. Jason Bourne, that's kind of a nickname that people have went with. So I have it on my movies to watch list. It's a long list of movies. But there's been some pretty creative people with the Bourne Identity, with the Jason Bourne stuff. So I'll be excited to see what you come up with.
I have your blessing tonight.
Yes,
I don't know, are there 3 movies or there 4 movies? I'm going to take those movies and we're going to piece it together, because one game might be maybe you're rocking it with assists, maybe you're going off for 30. I'm going to connect some of those movies. That's
for sure. Yeah, got to.
I'm not a deep thinker. I just think there's a nickname.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll deliver an ultimatum tonight, huh? Hey, Bowen, I do have one simple request. We got new mugs in. I don't know if anybody can read it. My official Monday morning cup of coffee mugs, and of course, all my guests get them. But what I would like to see is, everybody celebrates. When somebody makes a 3, you'll see them, put ice in their veins, or you'll see them run down with, pointing 3 to the ground or whatever. I want to see you pretend to sip out of a coffee cup after being a guest on Monday Morning Cup of Coffee with a 3-fingered hold of the mug. There you are with the mug. I want the coffee mug celebration.
All right.
I'm teasing. You can if you did it,
people might think he's taking shots or something.
Us, but it's got to be the 3 fingers while you sip. So we know you're going to make a lot of them this year. So.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good idea. I got to think about it. So. We'll see when that first 3 goes in. I'll see. I got to see though.
We're looking forward to it. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on. We'll see you tonight for Ram fans, 7:30 tonight at Moby Arena. CSU against North Dakota, opening night of the 24-25 season. Thanks for coming on, Bowen. We appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate you guys having me on. Yeah, you guys do a great show. So thank you guys.
Good luck tonight, my friend.
Yeah, thank you.
What you think, Brady?
Oh, he's awesome. I love his story, his background. He talks about his dad too, and all that stuff. But he's got to be careful. If he does the shots thing, people might think he's taking doing shots, Steve.
But it's not the 3 fingers, That's kind of the with the pinky finger off the mug. That's the.
It can be done. It can be done.
There's There's technique.
He's a great dude. Great guest today to start it off. And hey, go beat North Dakota tonight. You can't win them all, Steve, if you don't win the first one. That's what I've been told.
That's kind of the way I look at it. So what you got cooking later on today and the rest of the week?
We'll be talking a lot about the weekend that was tough loss for the Broncos against the Ravens. We'll get into that. The Nuggets, basketball. We've got a lot of hoops action tonight to go over locally, so we'll be getting into that too. So jam-packed show. I think Coach Sanford will join us too, and we'll recap kind of what went down with CSU and the Broncos. So should be fun.
You know, the good news, you know, you got Wyoming and CSU on a bye this week in prep for the border war. So you don't have to worry about making any picks for those guys. But then next week, the pressure's going to be on you next week because I know you do great coverage for not just CSU, but also you do a great job with Wyoming. You're going to have somebody keeping receipts from one of those schools. You got a week and a half to make that pick. So anyway, it'll be fun as leading into that as well.
I could tweet out something controversial, about zero chance CSU loses this game or something. But Wyoming fans don't keep at least what I've experienced, they don't keep the receipts quite like Buffs fans do. I don't think anybody does it quite like they do.
Yeah, but it's the border war. It'll be different for this one. That's for sure.
You get Wyoming getting a win, and they switched up their quarterback, and they're moving the football. They're throwing it down the field too. So my fear here is that Wyoming suddenly clicks right before this big Friday night game. So we'll see what happens.
I think it'll be great. I'm looking forward to the game. I'm glad Wyoming is getting it together. It makes the game that much better. For me, I've got, just to let people know, I'll be doing a post-game live tonight about 10:15 and coming on with good friend Aaron Harris. I ran into Aaron at Moby yesterday. He had just gotten back from the game at Reno. He's a regular on this show. He'll be joining me tonight with his recap of the game. Of course, you're welcome anytime you go to a game. You're welcome to come on that as well, Brady. But I've got that, and then some other stuff on Wednesday night. I've got my Mountain West game of the week. I'm going to be doing with my friend Tom Moser. Tom is a host of a podcast called Top of the Mountain West. He covers Mountain West basketball in depth. And we're going to be doing a weekly Mountain West game of the week. We'll do the Wednesday night Oakland University at Boise State. And then Thursday night, I got my Swollapalooza, and we're planning a really fun show for that. So busy week for me, obviously crazy busy week for you. I don't know how you do it. I go crazy just doing a few streams a week. You're a general manager of a radio station and do 15 hours of programming yourself on top of all the work you do. So anyway, thanks for coming on. Any parting words?
No, I appreciate that, Steve. Yeah, it's fun. The radio stuff is pretty easy when you have a lot to talk about. And, yes, there are the Broncos and the Nuggets and the Avs, but there's so much happening in Northern Colorado. So we try to mix it up, talk a little bit about everything. So it's never a boring day.
Anyway, thanks. I think everybody in Northern Colorado appreciates the hard work and the coverage that you provide, especially for CSU. So thanks. Have a great week. We'll keep in touch. We won't be on next Monday because Steve is out of town. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Thanks again. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on Monday Morning Cup of Coffee. On behalf of Brady Hall, have a great day. Go Rams.
See you later.